Now available in paperback and e-readers, ISIS Legacy. The sorority secrets of the goddess next door are revealed in this all-new ISIS series adventure. Get ISIS Legacy in paperback and e-readers at online booksellers everywhere.
Last week, an 87-year-old New York City voice coach wound up losing her life when she was shoved to the ground in an assault. Now, in this incident, your 26-year-old Lauren Pazienza is alleged to have taken the life of 87-year-old Barbara Mayer Gustern as she was coming out of a session with one of her clients and waiting to meet a cab to take her to a bar. Now, as Ms. Gustern was waiting to meet this cab, she was shoved by Lauren Pazienza, who allegedly had just gotten into a physical altercation with her alleged fiancé, according to some reports. Now, the police are seeing this as an isolated incident, but when I take a critical examination at this series of events, it fits right in line with the pattern and profile for female behavior that I talk about in my book, The Woman Crisis. And it's clear to me that your Lauren Pazienza clearly was a woman in crisis, and this female ticking time bomb because she felt powerless as related to her situation with the fiancé she was involved with, decided to take out all of her anger on this 87-year-old woman. Now, it looks like to me, after having that argument and altercation with that fiancé she was involved with, she knew she could not overpower him in a fight, and because she was frustrated and angry about losing to the man in the fight, I believe that's why she went out here and attacked this 87-year-old voice coach, because she could get power over this person. Now, this is something that a lot of females do because they get emotional, and when they get emotional, a lot of these females, they do not think and they act on impulse. And once they wind up acting on their impulses, they wind up participating in actions that they wind up regretting later on. And I believe that's what happened as related to this shoving incident, which sadly led to this 87-year-old grandma, Barbara Gustern, losing her life. This woman, because she was so busy feeling and acted on those feelings, wound up attacking this old elderly woman. And after she attacked this old elderly woman, she then realized her mistake and then tried to go out here and try to find a way to escape accountability for her actions, because it was close to a week before police found out who this woman was by looking at a lot of video that was presented from security cameras, and nobody would have known that this woman had done this had it not been for those security cameras. Now, your Pazienza, she went out of her way to try to avoid being accountable for her actions by going to her parents' home and then deleting her social media accounts and also deleting her wedding website. Now, those actions to me show that this woman clearly knew that she was in the wrong, but wanted to avoid accountability for her actions, and clearly wanted to try to find a way to escape by going home to mommy. That's what many females like to do when they are caught up in a situation where they are held accountable, is they try to avoid that accountability by going back to their parents and then looking to go out here and participate in actions to make themselves disappear. But there was no way for this woman to disappear as related to her criminal behavior, because that criminal behavior had been recorded on video as related to security cameras. Now that the legal system knows that your Pazienza there's evidence of her participating in these alleged actions, we have to see if the criminal justice system will follow through in holding this woman accountable for her criminal behavior. Because one of the things that is leading to so many women being in crisis here in this country is the fact that our criminal justice system does not hold women to the same standard as men, even though your feminists want to say that a woman isn't equal to a man, many of these women out here, they're never held to the same standard because our gynocentric criminal justice system oftentimes likes to give women a pass for their criminal behavior. And in this case, I don't believe that that pass should apply because it's clear to me that from what is presented as related to the evidence, your Lauren Panzienza clearly could have not attacked this woman. She could have found a way to deal with her feelings more constructively, and she didn't need to act impulsively and attack a woman who had absolutely nothing to do with her previous altercation with her fiance. So in this case, she needs to be held accountable and prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law, and as I see it, for taking the life of this grandmother so callously through her impulsive actions, she definitely needs to be given the maximum sentence as related to a punishment, because there was no excuse to attack an innocent bystander if you're having problems with your fiance or whatever man that you're involved with. You work that out with that man. You don't take it out on other innocent people like this woman allegedly did as related to this 87-year-old grandmother. And that is why these women are in crisis these days, because a lot of these women, they're not taught how to work through their feelings, work on themselves, and deal with their problems. If you're having a problem with another person, you do not attack an innocent person because you're in your feelings about somebody else, because you could wind up hurting somebody who has absolutely nothing to do with things. And that's sadly what happened here. And what sadly happened here is that this elderly grandmother has lost her life, but this woman possibly, I don't know how this gynocentric court system will do. I'm hoping that they hold her accountable and establish a standard to hold this woman for her irresponsible, reckless, and egregious behavior, because if we don't hold these women accountable, that's going to lead to these women further being in crisis. Because one of the reasons why so many of these women go out here and commit crimes is because they know that the court systems will not punish them, and because they know that the court system won't punish them, that gives many women incentive to act in these dysfunctional and reckless ways. And when they go out here and act in these reckless ways, they wind up harming other people. But that's all part, sadly, of America's culture. For the last 50 years, we have allowed women to get passes for their bad behavior. And because they get passes for their everyday bad behavior, many women don't know where the boundaries are. And because they don't know where the boundaries are, they don't know where the line is as related to their behavior. And because they don't know where the line is as related to their behavior, many women believe that they can just practically do whatever they want, including attacking those in our communities who cannot defend themselves. And they believe that they have a right to go out here and hurt somebody. And then when they hurt somebody, they believe it's okay for them to run away, and because no one's going to hold them accountable. Because what this woman did allegedly was she ran to her parents' house looking for a place to hide. She looked to delete all of her social media, hoping nobody would find her. She looked to go out here and delete her wedding website. And she did all of this because she thought, oh, nobody's going to find me. But the security cameras found her, and many of those people in that area possibly knew her. And that's what led to her winding up getting arrested, and because she turned herself in because the information was just too much out there. But the whole thing is that this woman wound up messing up her entire life because she acted on her feelings impulsively, and she acted without ever thinking about the consequences of her actions. And that's one of the reasons why women are in crisis as related to our legal system, and why our legal system is in crisis is because we don't set a standard for women that is equal to men, and we don't hold them equally accountable the way we do men. Now, we need to start holding women accountable for their behavior, because your feminists said, oh, I want equal rights. Well, with equal rights come equal responsibilities, And when you go out here and do harm to others, you have to be held equally accountable for the harm you do. And that's one of those things that many men want to see as related to many of these out of control women out here, because one of the reasons why so many women are out of control is because there's no sort of standards being set by both men and women to establish boundaries for women, and there's no sort of standard as related to dealing with this kind of behavior and letting everybody know that everybody has to follow the law, whether they be man or woman, and they have to be held to that same standard so that we can have a consistent standard of law. But this relates to, again, the woman crisis, because many women, they are out of control and running amok because our gynocentric system won't set any boundaries for them, and because it doesn't set any boundaries for them as related to their violence that they perpetrate against men. We're seeing incidents like this where innocent grandmothers are being harmed by violent women, and these situations are something that really, again, our criminal justice system really needs to rectify, because there's no reason why an 87-year-old grandmother shouldn't feel safe to go out and work with a client, and because some female is in her feelings talking about a boyfriend. And if things aren't working out with that man, you leave that man and move on, but you don't take it out on people who have nothing to do with it. So I look at this whole situation again, and it's a sad another incident as related to women being in crisis, and we really need to do something about this woman crisis, because these out of control women, they have been running wild for too long, and it's time for America to hold America's women accountable for their out of control behavior. Now, if you want to learn more about what makes women participate in violent and dysfunctional behavior like this, you can pick up my upcoming book, The Woman Crisis, which is coming out this fall. But until then, if you want to learn about how many of these feminists created the issues we have with beta males, you can pick up my book, The Man Crisis, on Amazon.com in paperback and Kindle format. You can also find The Man Crisis on Smashwords, the iBook store, and Google Play. And if you want to learn more about how these same behaviors led to many black women winding up being single, you can also pick up my book, Why 70% of Black Women Are Single, on Amazon.com in paperback and Kindle format. You can also find it on Smashwords, the iBook store, and Google Play. That's all I have to say for this video. You can comment, rate, subscribe.
Now available in paperback and e-readers, Spellbound, A Darker Shade of Black. Get your copy today at your favorite online